This is the Learnit Lounge, a podcast brought to you by Learnit. In each episode, I sit down with HR and L&D leaders to explore how learning programs have sparked real change, unlocked growth, built trust, and transformed the way that teams work. Hosted by me, Dr. Mickey Fitch-Collins, a facilitator and learning designer at Learnit, this podcast brings you the stories behind successful learning strategies, direct from the people driving them. Learnit is a live learning platform that's helped over 2 million professionals thrive inside some of the world's most respected companies. If you're looking for a partner to help you do the same, our contact info is in the show notes. Welcome to the Learnit Lounge, where learning leads to measurable impact. If you want better outcomes, you don't need better goals. You need better loops. On today's solo episode of the Learnit Lounge, we're going to be talking about habit looping for learning and development pros. In learning and development, we constantly are talking about behavior change. It's the holy grail of learning, right? The moment when somebody does something differently, something more effectively, something more confidently, you see the light bulb go off, you see the smile on their face. But there's a blind spot to all of this. We rarely apply those same principles to ourselves. I was just having this conversation the other day with a really prominent learning and development leader. And we were talking about what happens because we get stuck in these reactive cycles. We jump into the next urgent request. We build first, ask later. We solve for these surface level problems instead of looking at what is the root cause of the friction. And these aren't strategic decisions. This is habit, right? The myth is that better outcomes come from better planning. But the truth of the matter is they come from better defaults. And those defaults are shaped by the loops that we often don't realize that we're actually stuck in. So let's look at a habit loop framework. We have a cue, we have a routine, we have a reward. I am big time into BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits, and his framework is almost just like this. When something or someone triggers us, that cue happens. We respond in a certain way, which is the routine, and we get something in return, which is the reward. An example, right, a cue would be a stakeholder sends you some vague request, and the routine, I need to immediately start outlining this new training or this response or whatever it's going to be. And the reward, of course, is I feel so useful. I feel so helpful. I feel so needed. Maybe I even get that thumbs up response or a quick, thanks so much, Mickey. But what if that loop is actually reinforcing reactivity instead of impact and value creation? So here's some high leverage loops that everybody out there as learning and development pros can rewire. Loop number one, I'm going to call it the Firefighter Loop. And I know for those of you listening out there, you're going to love this one. So here's the cue. Bing! Urgent email lands in your inbox. Routine? Drop everything to respond. Reward? A sense of relief. I did the thing. That little hit of, I think I did something helpful. But here's the reframe that I want you to do. Pause. Ask yourself 3 questions, and then ask the person sending those 3 questions to clarify the need before you act, to clarify what they want before you respond. The reward becomes you having greater clarity and providing a much smarter solution. Loop number 2, I call this the content builder loop. The cue, somebody says, hey, Mickey, we need some training on X. And so the routine, start building the slides, start sourcing the material, get into your favorite generative AI tool and start prompting away, boom, boom, boom. Reward, sense of productivity. Here's the reframe. Shift to a mindset of curiosity. Those of you that have been listening to the Learnit Lounge, you have heard myself and several other guests talk about curiosity. You need to stop and ask yourself, what decision or what behavior needs to change? That's the shift from doing to the shift of curiosity. That is the shift of asking questions instead of making action. The reward becomes trust, alignment, and doing the right thing. The third loop I'm going to offer to you, the Busy Olympics loop. This is one of my favorite things to talk to people about. The gold medal that you don't want to get is the gold in the Busy Olympics. The cue, empty calendar block. Routine, fill it with a whole bunch of busy work. Boom, boom, boom. We're nailing things down. The reward feeling of, I am so in control. Here's the reframe. Use that space for rest. Use that space for reflection. Use that space to nourish your body, stretch your body, refresh your body with beverages. Get up and get away from your workspace. Use that space for strategic work, stakeholder outreach, sending a couple of messages to key people that you haven't talked to in the last 30 or 45 or 60 days. Listen to a podcast, read an article. The reward becomes traction on the work that actually matters, and the reward becomes a body and mind that's ready to be fully present. There was a point in my career, there's been several points in my career where I felt like I was constantly saying yes. Every single ping, every single request, every single meeting, I responded instantly, yes, yes, yes. I thought it made me reliable, but what it did was it made me massively fragmented. I was stuck in this loop of the queue of that ping of the email, the routine, immediate response, immediate yes, the reward. I feel so needed. I feel so wanted. So I decided to run an experiment. I turned off all those notifications. I turned off all those sounds, whether it was on team, whether it was on email, all this sort of stuff. And at first, oh, buddy, did I feel guilty? Did I have a big sense of FOMO? You bet. But within a couple of days, something shifted. My thinking got a lot sharper. My priorities became more clear. And my reputation, here's the thing. I had a couple of people actually comment to me. This was like 1 week after I had made that change, saying, you feel so much more present in the meetings. It seems like you're so much more refreshed. Did you go on a vacation or something? Did you do something fun over the weekend? What's your secret? Is it a different type of coffee? People knew that I'm a big coffee drinker. I was showing up with more value, not just with more volume. That's the power of redesigning the loop. So here's the big takeaway or the mindset shift. I want you to start treating your own habits with the same curiosity that you are hopefully bringing to your learners. I want you to try this, okay? First and foremost, I highly recommend reading the book Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. Great, great book related to a lot of the fantastic research that's out there around habits. But here's what I want you to try. Identify one loop that you are in that is not serving your impact, that's not bringing value. And break it down. What's the cue? What's the routine? What's the reward that you're chasing? And then spend some time rewiring it. What is the small shift that could create a better outcome? Because here's the gig, everybody. At the end of the day, behavior change isn't just for our audiences. It's not just for the people sending us checks. It has to start with us. We need to be the models of what behavior change looks like. If this solo episode got you thinking, please go ahead and subscribe to the Learnit Lounge. Please connect with me, Mickey Fitch-Collins, on LinkedIn. Send me a message because I'd love to hear about that habit loop that you're ready to break, you're ready to build, that you are rewiring.